Yes, we're online.
Hello.
Hello everyone. This is Özlem. I'm one of the co-founders of SparkUs.
My name is Dani, and I'm a co-founder of SparkUs as well. I'm the designer.
And I'm the coach. So we're going to talk about different parts of what SparkUs does from our perspective. And we just wanted to start, before everything, describing why we exist. What was the idea behind SparkUs? So our first thing that has never changed over the years is that we believe in human potential, and we want the workplace to be a place where people go to work with passion and where they're fulfilling their potentials. They are really out there and also adding value to the workplace. So we're talking about gathering of that human passion into the work, where all the work would be much more better actually. So we know as I'm a coach, and most of the research also shows that coaching is a catalyst to thrive. It gives people find their inner motivation and to link that inner motivation with work so that they make a genuine contribution to the workplace. And also, it also gives people the responsibility, the accountability to take action and move forward with their lives. Looking from this perspective, if in this world where there is a lot of unknown, a lot of crisis happening all the same time, and a lot of things changing very fastly, actually coaching works beautifully for people to move forward, to overcome obstacles and everything. But the fact is, organizations don't have enough resources to bring coaching to everyone. Coaching is an expensive service that requires one-on-one time between a coach and the coachee. And so there is not enough budgets to bring it to more people in the organizations. There is not enough time also, it takes a lot of time. And most of the time people don't know what to get out of coaching. So there is a lack of preparation, especially from the coachee's side. And also there is a coaching confidentiality. For that process to work really well, what we really need is to keep whatever we talk with the coachees confidential. So that means that it's very easy, it's very difficult on the other hand, to basically to report it and to assure quality of the coaching services. So it's quite a black box. Therefore, it is not easy for organizations to invest even more because they kind of feel that it might be working well, but it's really a black box, so they don't want to put a lot of money into it. So when we bring all them together, although we know that coaching works beautifully and is very much needed skill set and mindset for this life that we're living in, for this world that we're living in, what generally happens is we don't coach everyone in the organization. We just spare it for a select few in the organizations for top management and everything. So when we're talking about a digital coaching market generally aims to address some of these issues with technology. What is out there in terms of digital coaching is there might be some chatbots that you already heard about, some matching algorithms. Where we're fitting into this whole map is our basic idea is like, how do we bring coaching to more people without taking away the human elements, without taking away that high touch that we find in the coaching services. So our solution basically is a combination of technology and the human element. So we have a blended approach where coaches go through a digital coaching journey and then come together with a coach for their impact sessions and also for tracking their actions.
Let me jump in. When we are talking about digital coaching journey, we have more than one role into this coaching relation. So we have the user, the individual who is either coached or he or she is a mentee in a mentoring program, or maybe a team member whose manager is coaching them. So the user is the real focus, because we believe that the real development, the real responsible from the individual's development is the individuals themselves. Then we have the human touch. For different programs, it can be a different person who's giving that human touch to that that individual. It might be an internal coach, an external coach, their manager who is approaching in a coach-like manner, their mentors, and in some cases even some buddies or some peers can give you that human touch, that human elements in your development journey. And each program, and we tend to forget that, has a program manager. Most of the time, there are people in the HR who is running the program in the company. It might be the development, leadership development responsible or mentorship program manager. Sometimes it's learning and development lead. The program manager plays a key role into the efficiency of these programs. And other than that, most of the development journeys also includes additional supports. So let's say we have a coaching program. The coachee, the user, can get support of their managers, their teammates, or if this is a mentoring program, in the mentoring program, the mentee can take support of their managers as well. And sometimes even in the mentoring programs, even in the manager feedback programs that we have as a in leadership development programs or coach-like managers programs, people have different informal mentors within the company which they can take support of.
So for the SparkUs platform that we're going to show you, we're going to show you how things look from these different roles. Different roles are able to see different parts of the process. So this is the digital coaching platform where the users, by that we mean the coachees, or the people who are going through a mentoring program or coaching program, they see this page. So over the page, you see there are some gamification elements that sometimes we use. We're going to talk about them later. But what generally happens is the coaching happens in the middle part of the process. And so what you see over there, like My Spark, My Team, and Tasks parts, are our digital coaching packages, which are generally arranged around the theme, around the topic for a group of people in the organization to go through. So whenever we are talking about a platform that we have, we're always thinking about an audience that we want to bring coaching to. So it's not just one person, but it could be maybe like 20 people, 100 people, or even thousands of people that we want to bring coaching to. So the coaching packages basically are designed around what are some common topics that all of them need to think about, all of them need to work on. And in all of the coaching packages, we have what we call the coaching steps. Each one of these steps, you can think about them as mini coaching sessions. Each of them are composed of different units of work. And when you click on a certain step, what you find is sometimes we give them some exercises like selecting and choosing from photos, listening to some audio files. So there is an element of easing into the coaching process through exercises. Then, once they're done with the exercises, we start asking the users open-ended questions, like in a coaching session. And we want them to write down, for instance, in this case, it is a kind of a vision from the future. We ask them to write down how that future looks like. And there are also the elements of reflection on the platform. once they've written something, this green areas you see over here is a carried forward of what they've written in the previous page. Or it could also be something that they've written in another step, in another coaching exercise. So in that way, we make the coachees gather things, connect the dots from what they've done over there, how it adds to the bigger picture of their coaching development. So once our coachees are done with all the exercises on a certain coaching package, there is a one-pager of coaching report, which is almost like a portfolio of all the work they've done in different steps. So they can gather everything in one page. As you'll see, there are some include-exclude buttons over here. So until they decide to share this piece, it is completely confidential. It's almost like their own journals that they're writing, and also like some journals that they do some exercises. So it's their private area. And once they decide to share it with someone, they can even have the opportunity to include a certain part, exclude a certain part, revise certain things, where they will feel really comfortable to share it with somebody else. So they gather their report, and once they're ready and say like, okay, this is the way it goes, then they can click a button and share their report with whoever is doing the human interaction. It could be their coach, it could be their mentor, it could be their peers, it could be their managers. So this is a part of the process to start the effective coaching conversation. So there are two levels of this preparation happening. One is coachees are learning about the coaching process. So they start to trust the process of coaching even beforehand. They also have a certain level of gathering their thoughts and slowly easing into the process, writing things down, having some reflection time, and so that they have a certain level of quality when they come into the coaching process. And it's not only a preparation from the coachee's side, but it's also a preparation for the coach. So when the coach receives, and I'm going to show what the coach sees shortly, but coach can look into what the coach has done. They can plan ahead. They can say like, so this person looks like they're very clear on where they're heading, but looks like they're a little bit lost in terms of where they are today. It looks like they have a certain issue that they want to discuss here. Maybe I can concentrate on that. So even before having our very first conversation, our very first session, we can automatically have a feeling of where this person is. We get to know them a little bit more. So we can plan ahead as coaches and also focus our conversation for whatever is needed. And one more very important thing here is, especially when the person that is doing the coaching is not a seasoned professional coach, but maybe a manager coaching someone or an internal mentor, they can have a little bit of concerns like, where do I start the process? Where do we get into this conversation? So the report basically gives them a kind of a framework of where to start the conversation, where to head it. So it also gives as a guidance to the person that is doing the coaching.
Just to elaborate on that, on the coachee side, this gives them a good point to start the coaching conversation as well, because the coachee have done their homework. They already worked on the coaching questions. So they have what we call the coaching literacy. So they know what is the session is about, what kind of questions will be asked, and how they can receive support, and in which areas the dialogue will occur in the session. So they are not going into a mysterious session blindly. They are going to the coaching or mentoring sessions with a lot of preparation and a lot of knowledge.
It's also important to note here that when we're designing a coaching program for an organization, we always sit down with the program managers to understand what's the strategic goal of that coaching process is. So we can basically arrange all the exercises, all the questions, and all that process, that digital coaching journey, based on the strategic goals of the organization. That also means the fact that coaches are going through very similar steps, it also gives us level of quality assurance for the organization when they're running their coaching program. So after that process is done, there is also the potential to track the sessions between the coach and the coachee. It is possible to arrange the sessions on the platform, but it's actually much more important is there is a Outlook or Google Calendars invitation integration. And so what happens is there is a listener that the coach and coachee can just send each other meeting requests by just adding an email address of our platform. The platform catches that they're having their coaching sessions. So they're easily traced over the platform, and it just appears on the platform. And after each session, coachees can receive some assessment forms about the session, like writing down what their takeaways are, writing down what are their next steps, what do they want to discuss in the next session, and also writing down their actions. And adding dates to those actions so that they can be reminded of taking those actions. And that upper part, that I would say the blue part over here, about the takeaways and the next steps, etc., is shared with the coach. While the yellow part that the coachee fills in is shared with the program manager. So it's more about assessment of sessions, what kind of results they were expecting, if the session really helped them, or some open-ended feedback about the whole process. So by this page, we're able to trace if the sessions are really happening and if they're really happening in the way that we want them. So we can make some, as the program managers can make some revisions if necessary to the whole process. And what does the coach see? The coach has its own screen as well. So when they enter there, they can see all the people assigned to them. And they also have some coaching guides, some panel guides to arrange all this process. They can have a checklist of their own. And by seeing all their coaches in one page, they can see who shared some reports with them, what was the next session date, so they can watch it in one page of a dashboard. And by clicking on every user, they can also see different things about each of their users. They can see how much the coachee has gone through their digital coaching steps, about their progress per each package. They can arrange their sessions over here as well. They can do some in the platform messaging if needed, and especially when there is a kind of a program going on where they don't want to use their corporate email addresses. If there is something really confidential, they prefer to use this place. And sometimes we use this messaging tool also as a form of in the moment touch points. And also they can see over here by clicking on the report, they can see where the what the coachee actually shared with them, like all of their work, whatever they've finished, their one-page portfolio, at the moment that they really shared with them.
As long as they choose to share, just to underline that.
Yeah, that's really important. As long as they choose to share, plus as much as they like to share. So they can help them out around that as well. So there are some additional tools, like they can add some notes Coaches can also upload some files, for instance, when there is let's say a 360 going on, and they receive such a report about the coachee, they can always put it down here, especially for programs that are really crowded, where coaches are supposed to coach maybe 5 or 10 people in the organization. It's really very handy to watch all these in one platform. So, what does the HR see?
Okay, on the HR side or the program manager side, we have very extensive reporting capabilities, as long as we are not breaching any confidentiality between the coach and the coachee, or any confidentiality between the individual and the human support. So you can see statistically which steps are completed, how many sessions are held during the program. You can see the development goals in terms of statistics, in which competencies that they are clustering, and you can also see the numbers of actions and the number of development goals that is addressed through the platform. And the good part of the dashboard is it's a living platform, and for different programs we have different levels of reporting, as well as different levels of confidentiality for certain content bytes. For example, in some programs, mostly in the coaching programs, all of the content is confidential between the coach and the coachee. But in some cases, like coach like manager program or feedback program, we take the consent of the individual to share the development goal and the matching competency with the program manager. So the program manager can focus either future trainings or their learning and development focus into the next quarter, knowing the clustering within the company about the competency focuses or development focuses. The dashboard also provides the information about the sessions, the number of them, and how many actions are taken, and how the performance of the session is going. Not only that, the dashboard also provides a lot of content management to the panel user, to the HR program manager. They can edit, add, or change reminder emails that also keeps the program on track. They can edit and change GDPR consent forms, the security levels, because not all companies have the same security measures according to the passwords, for example, and you can adjust that from the platform. And you can also manage the competency set. We know that changing times requires changing competency sets within the company. We know a lot of program managers who are dealing with changing traits within the company within a year or within a couple of years. So those are all dynamic content that you can manage over the platform. The platform also is flexible. It has other features as well. You can brand the platform. Before I start to talk about flexibility, I have to lay out the groundwork, which is what we call groups. Within your company, you can run simultaneously more than one program, and we manage that by groups. So you can include an individual to multiple groups as well. They have a preferred group, and they can see the branding, the visuals mapped with the groups. The content is agile, so you can change, add, take out any question anytime before the program as well as during the program, which is a huge strong suit of the SparkUs platform. which includes the power to make small tweaks during the process. This also gives you an agility when you're running a program and that scales through a year. For example, if you're running a mentorship program and you want to implement an additional step, it's possible. And on the competency side, we have a two-tier structure, so you can have a core competency and sub-competencies connected to that core one. So you can manage that two-tiered level competencies. And as I mentioned, you have groups to manage the platform. So we have a very extensive tool set to manage any kind of program. Over the platform, you can also manage the matchings, adding new users, sending them invitations. But the good part of it, we also have a customer success team at place to support you throughout this process, and they give you monthly feedbacks to make the program as successful as possible.
Yeah, I always tell that our clients to think about the SparkUs platform almost like a Lego. Like we have some building blocks that we can add and subtract, and you can change something, you can add something on top of it. So it's really very flexible. And sometimes it's like we just design certain things while we're even in the meeting with the client. So it's really quick and very flexible. So where do organizations use this platform? We actually use the platform in very different settings. It could be an external or an internal coach program where there is a need to scale things. Like you don't really need to do just one or two people to go through coaching, but a large group of people really need coaching from a limited resource. So we've even gone to like hundreds of people to receive coaching from a very limited source of coaches. So one thing is the scale programs. The other thing is mentoring programs where we need to support, especially the mentoring process when the mentors are, especially internal mentors, they generally need a tool set to know where to start the conversation, but also the organization needs to know that there are really some conversations happening. It's not just a nice coffee chit chat. So it is really easy to monitor those programs. Some leadership development programs and female leadership programs also use the SparkUs platform, especially when there is a module by module training going on. We can integrate our platform, our processes within the modules. So, and as we were talking about the flexibility, it's really possible to rearrange all the content based on all the modules that people are going through. So once they're done with a certain module of trainings, they can go into our platform, customize the process, whatever they learned in the trainings for themselves, evaluate it for themselves, and then receive their support from either a professional coach or a mentor, etc. And we also can go even larger for leader as a coach programs or for coaching culture programs where we basically bring coaching to everyone in the organization. It could also be like thousands of people going through the platform, especially when there is a culture change, there is a transformation change that is needed for this whole process. And we also use the platform for reverse mentoring programs, especially to track the process of the mentoring. So different components of the platform is really used throughout this process.
Just to before we deep dive which features we use with which program, I just want to elaborate on the additional features that we have.
Okay, I'll just go to that next slide then, if you like.
Yes, so we utilize the platform for need analysis, for LMS integration, for self-service matching and micro exercises. Let me go to the detail of these extra features. In some cases, the program managers needs focus for the program. So we can utilize the platform to generate a quick needs analysis for the focus group. They can log in, they can self-assess, and they can send their self-assessment to their managers or to their mentors or coaches. They can receive their assessments as well. So it might have the 180 assessment, and the program manager will have a broader picture about the focuses of the attendees. The platform can be integrated with LMS, as well as you can utilize the platform to manage curated content. The way it works, it's linked with the organization's competence model, so it's dynamic. You can assign different trainings, links, or contents to different competencies on a granularity level of your choosing. So you can say, okay, for this competence, I want to have different levels of learning, for example, for entry-level users or for advanced users, as well as you can dive into the different learning methodologies. So you can generate a branch for each competence with linking to different trainings. This gives you an immense capability to match already in place development tools that you have in your company with the personal development journey of the user.
I think it's important to note here that when we're designing the process, when we're designing the platform for the organization, we really look for, we tend not to do extra work for the individuals. Like, we don't want to create one more platform for them. We just want to use the platform as a one-stop shop where they can, if they already have a LMS integrated, they can use that. If they already have another analysis, they can use that. Sorry to interrupt. Go ahead. Sorry.
So we also have a self-service matching mechanism. In some cases, when you have a large-scale program with more than 100 matchings, it's a must to match the mentor or coach resource with the right individual. What our platform can do is they can go to a customized intake form. They answer a few questions like those are the multiple selection questions, like in which areas you want to develop yourselves, what are your key values, what do you expect from your coach or mentor, what are your priorities. So we collect the answers to that questions, and we run into an algorithm which is designed specifically for your program strategy, and I will open this up a little soon. And after that algorithm runs, it gives you a multiple selection alternatives for your mentors or for your coaches, and you can select one of them. The resource will be escrowed, so the platform will hold the mentor resource for you, and it will send automatically an approval mail to either the mentor or the program manager. And when you approve the matching will be automatically implemented to the platform. When I say the strategic goal of your program, this is very important, because when we are designing a matching tool, we realize that each company and even each program have its subtle differences. And a small difference can make a lot of change in the program success. For example, if you want to focus your mentoring program on cross role dialogue, you can match from different branches. For example, you can match an HR professional with a marketing mentor. It's doable, and the algorithm can calculate that. On the other hand, if you want to generate a more functional mentoring program, in example, in our case, if you want your junior HR professionals to get mentoring from the HR senior level mentors, that can be done also. You know, it's just a setting that we set in the beginning of the program, and these kind of things actually, when you add them up, you can match people from different values to generate a dialogue between the values, or you can use the same value person to generate more engagement and more how to say, more deep dialogue between the mentor and mentee. So these things are important when you're designing your service matching algorithms. Finally, but as important as the rest of them, we also have what we call a homework tracking tool, the micro exercises. This tool actually integrates to your modular trainings. Mm-hmm. We know that most of the development programs either integrated or somehow connected to training programs that are running in the company. And this modular training support exercises immensely supports the individual to implement their learnings into the real life. The trainer can generate exercise. They can include a video file or any kind of additional content like a PDF or a sound file directly in the platform, and they generate what we call a homework form. Mm-hmm. With several questions that actually gently forces the individual to implement their learning into the real life. And we also gamify this process with some deadlines. So when the user completes the homework at a certain time, they receive a higher point, etc., etc. And you can evaluate the results to the trainer as well.
Actually, what we see again and again in these, especially in these days, is we're receiving a lot of demand for this type of exercises, actually micro exercises, especially when the in-class training is not much there anymore.
Just to elaborate on that, when we call micro exercises, this is different than a little different than nudges that is a trending topic right now.
Sure.
Nudges are a small reminder that can be done in the platform as well, but a small reminder to which tries to generate the habit in the user. What micro exercises does, a little different than that, it forces the user to implement their learning and take note and give feedback about their learnings and their implementation, which gives a lot of actionable information to the trainer as well.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, there's much more reflection in that sense. Yeah.
Going back to the mapping slide.
Okay, I'm just going.
That will make more sense right now.
There. Okay, I'll just go back there. Just a second. Yep.
Yes. So as you can see, you don't need all the services in a program. We also have training, supervision, and program design support. The program design support comes with the platform, and we mostly give that support to projects that are higher user numbers, like 50 or 100. But we also support the platform usage with supervision, with training, in some cases with matching algorithms or on-demand marketplaces. The idea there is, even if we have this layout is not definitive. It's just a roadmap. So, for example, when you're running an external coaching at scale program, yes, you need some coaching session, but you might want to use an on-demand marketplace to help your individuals to select their coaches. On the other hand, if you're running a leadership development program, in that case, you might want to integrate a supervision, which we believe it's crucial when you're running when I say long term, it's actually a year-long program or maybe 2-quarter-long programs. Supervision actually invigorates the program, and it gives a milestone to both to mentors or to leaders as well as the users.
I think what's important to note here is, especially since you talked about the external coaching programs, the fact that even coaching sessions are optional over here is the organization can use their own coaching pool. They can say like, okay, we have already a good contract with another coaching school or a number of coaches, and we still want to work with them, but use your platform. So we are also, I was talking about the platform being Lego-like, but our services are also, as you can see on this dashboard, quite Lego-like. Like we can give certain support, but if you just prefer to use only the platform, that's also possible. Do you want to continue with that slide, or yeah?
If you can open the design process, maybe that will be helpful in explaining that.
Let me find the design process. Yeah. Okay, the screen now. Yeah.
Yeah. So this is more or less our framework for the program launch. We always start with design, which includes insight meetings, if possible with the users, with the mentors, as well as the program manager. And after that, we generate a mock-up, so everyone looks to the same picture, which helps to actually make the platform in line with the company culture. Certain words will be changed according to the company's internal language, and then we test it with a pilot group. This pilot group size changes from program to program. For example, if you are going to run a program of 20 matchings for a mentorship program, the pilot can be 1 or 2 users. Mm-hmm. If you are going to run a 500 matchings leader as a coach program, then you need a pilot of at least 2 runs of 20, so 40 total pilot users. And it's also important that all this progress also helps to generate internal buy-in of the upper management. That's why we run the pilot, we show the mock-up, we integrate the branding in order to generate that buzz within the company, within the users. And that also is supported with the launch, which we tend to we try and tend to implement a kickoff meeting, possibly a webinar or maybe a face-to-face one in normal times. That also helps to generate that trust to the platform. Most of the questions that we answer along the way is the confidentiality, where the data is stored, security, and all that stuff. And we also track the measurements which we decide in the design process. For example, for one platform, the target can be the reach. So in certain cases, we open the platform to all users in the company, and the goal of the platform is to reach as many people as possible in the company. And in some other cases, the similar program can be put in place to filter the demand for coaching. For example, if you have only enough resources to coach 100 users, you can use the platform to decide who will get that coaching support by assigning the platform to maybe 150 users and give them the information that the first 100 will receive face-to-face coaching. And as Özlem stated, the coaching session is not limited to SparkUs coaches. In most cases, we support the program, especially in the beginning with the SparkUs coaches, but it's not mandatory. But I also want to add, in some cases, we scale the coaching for some user groups like interns in a way that is a written feedback report from a coach. So we have a lot of tools to address different issues.
Yeah, we actually have like, we can gather one-on-one support, we can gather group coaching, we can gather a written coaching. We can also integrate multiple roles. I'm going to go back to the role slide that Danny shares, and it's really possible. Let me find that slide and share it with you. Once again. Yeah, over here. So thinking about that, we can have additional support of managers, peers. We can have the human touch from a coach, mentor, peer. In certain programs, it's also possible to support someone from multiple angles. For their managers to have the very first conversation about development goals, and then to include the mentors to support them, and maybe to include a trainer while they're going through a training program. So while the user goes through just one process on the platform, it's possible to receive the support, the human element, and the support from different angles and in different forms. It could be in kind of group coaching, it could be one-on-one coaching, it could be written support as well. So as I said, it's quite Lego-like. You can think about anything, any type of support system that you like also in terms of the platform. So,
Özlem, I see that we already reached the last 10 minutes of the session.
So let's maybe stop the sharing over here and check if there are any questions. That you can write it onto the chat board, chat box basically, and we can answer them for you. Okay, so we don't have any questions yet.
Yeah, maybe we can answer often asked questions, something like, how do you persuade your user to trust in the confidentiality of the platform?
Yeah, that's generally a question that we receive in terms of the confidentiality. Well, the first thing is, of course, coaching is very much, I mean, leaving aside all the legal processes, coaching is a very confidential process, and for it to really work, it really needs to be like that. So we basically start with the kickoffs, describing how we have you know, that confidentiality among us. So we just say, like, on the platform, whatever you do is your thing, and you can arrange things. You can you know, decide what to share, what not to share. And whenever we're really giving some kind of, we're kind of collecting some information for the coachees, for the program managers to review it, like development goals, for instance, so that the HR can design what kind of trainings they're going to give, especially for needs analysis. If there are those kind of areas in the platform, we always show a disclaimer to the coachees saying, like, this part down here will be shared only. Or even we sometimes give them the space to edit their own content to be shared with somebody else. So those are some tools that we really give the assurance to the coachees that whatever they're doing on the platform is confidential. But of course, there is also the technical part of it. Maybe, Dani, I can give the floor to you in terms of, like, what's possible in terms of the technicality around it.
I want to combine that part with the Anil's question about the effort, how much effort does it take on the user side, and what are our experience so far for the users. When we are designing the platform, we always start with the prejudgment of that they are not going to use it and they are not going to trust the platform. So each platform and each program has their own nuances, but some efforts actually hits the jackpot. For example, if you're trying to build that trust, putting in place a question that can be altered when it's shared. For example, we are asking a vision question in most of the programs, and then we are reflecting back that answer to the user, and that user can change and make alterations before sharing with their coach or with their manager. So that also gives and builds that trust. And to be more clear on the answering the Anil's question,
I want to share the results actually that we have.
Thank you. We have 78% completion rate, and this mostly comes from the program design. So when we are designing the program, we know what is attractive for the users, and most of the time, to be candid about it, it's not the platform. But the platform is once you start to use the platform, it's very engaging and very easy to use. The UX is very clean and light, so it doesn't take over the user's internal process. But the real reason about the completion rate, which is 78%, and just to give you a little bit more in-depth data there, when it's an elective program, it's around 50%, the completion rate. And when it's a compulsory program, for example, if it's a coaching program for a focus group, then it can become around 85 to 90% completion rate. And this is achieved specifically because there's a coach session at the end, or mentor meeting at the end. So it's like knowing that you're going to spend some one-on-one time with someone and that your work is not going to be in vain. It's important that knowing your work will be read by the coach or the human side.
That's exactly why we have the blended approach. We believe that there has to be a gathering of the technology with the human element at its optimum. So that's why we achieve these completion rate. It's not like going to a, I don't know, online course and watching something. It's really sharing your innermost feelings, knowing that somebody to support you are going to read them through. So that's why we have that amount of completion rate. And of course, we should also add, there is also some addition in terms of like the design. Danny also mentioned about the platform, but also like we're really very keen on the reminders of the platform as well. So there are very coach-like reminders, and every pilot project that we do, when we go back to the users, ask about what they really liked, we always receive the information that we really like the reminders, because, you know, in the hustle of the work, we sometimes definitely forget about ourselves, taking time for ourselves. And when they are reminded, they go back to the platform and enjoy it. And in terms of spending time, yeah, go ahead, sorry.
Maybe we are going to answer the second part of the question simultaneously. In terms of time spent in the platform by the users, it's around 2 hours in 2.2 sessions. That means generally people will start to fill the platform in one sitting, and in the two-thirds of the program, they decide that they need some internal time to think over it and come back later. So it's around 2 hours, I might say, but at the same time, we are approaching the user efforts in a designer manner as well, because not all the user groups have the same patience or same tenacity to complete the platform. So for some groups, we shrink the process to 2 or 3 steps, and it becomes around half an hour, 45 minutes efforts on the user side.
But I think it's also important to note that this is not just filling out a form for a coaching session. So it's every step is, I always tell at the, especially in the kickoffs, that this is a coaching process really going on, even starting on the platform. So it will mean that they're going to do some soul searching, which also requires the users to, you know, take it slow. Even though Danny says 2 hours, maybe just, I always tell them, like, just leave aside 2 slots of, let's say, 45 minutes to go back to it. So that after a while, it might be a little bit too much. It might be good to revisit and continue the process afterwards. So it is really like going to a coaching session.
Just to conclude, before I conclude, I just want to include this. I cannot stress the importance of the design process, because we know that each program have different audience, and different personas have different behaviors. And what we keep in mind is everyone has their own what we call motivation reserve to complete the platform. Somebody has a lot of motivation, somebody has a little less motivation, and somebody have no motivation at all. So we try to understand the motivation level within the user group, and we design the program to not to deplete all the motivation reserve before they complete the platform. So we tweak the platform, we change the placement of the steps. Sometimes we separate the crucial steps with additional support steps, so they can complete the platform without depleting their internal motivation.
And what we received over the years is, last years we done academic research with the university, and all the anonymized data were spread to different ICF credentialed coaches, and we double checked each other's work. And one of the things that we checked was if I asked this question in a session and I received this answer, would that be sufficient, or would I just really ask for, you know, for them to like, can you elaborate more on that? Are they just writing down like little short non-reflective sentences like yes, that's good, or something like that, or are they really engaged on the platform? And what we found out was it was 87% coaching satisfactory, the answers they've given. So people, once they start the process, they really dive into it and they really become engaged with the coaching process. And of course, there are still some people who basically even don't log into the platform. So it's like around 10 to 15%. And that also gives us the opportunity, because we can watch it in terms of the data, who is really going through the platform, who is not going through the platform, especially for program managers. That it's really easy to see like, okay, so this person is not engaged with coaching. Maybe they don't even need a one-on-one support. And maybe I don't even, you know, invest in that. So it's really very possible to, based on organizations' needs around coaching, it's really very possible to support people where they really need support. So I'm aware that we're at the top of the hour. Anything you want to share, Danny, before we move?
Thank you for your questions and your attendance. And this will be the beginning of our webinar series, and I hope we will see you in the proceeding sittings, which includes different topics, and more deep dive on specific issues like how to design the program,
and
how
additional
to
features.
balance. And if you have any kind of recommendations about the topics, it will be welcomed.
Yeah, thank you so much for your time. And just to give you our email address, actually, I'm going to write my email address. You can reach out to me if you have additional questions that jump on to your mind. Thank you. And so you can just reach out to me for any questions you might have afterwards, and we can support you around that. So thank you all.
Thank you.
Looking forward to seeing you again. Bye-bye.
Bye.